Picture this. A woman walks down a cobblestone street and the entire world stops breathing, not to admire her humanity but to consume her image. In 1940 Sicily, Malèna Scordia became a prisoner of other people's eyes. This isn't a love story, it's about what happens when beauty becomes your only crime and everyone's a judge. Here's something that will keep you up at night. You are not just a person walking through the world. You are also a character in everyone else's private film, and you didn't audition for the role. Giuseppe Tornatore's Malèna understood this viscerally. The film opens with 12-year-old Renato watching Malèna walk through his Sicilian town, and the camera, our surrogate eye, drinks her in like she's made of light. Slow pans up her legs, lingering on curves. The town square becomes a theater where she's the only actor who doesn't know she's performing. This is the male gaze in its purest form. Film theorist Laura Mulvey coined the term in 1975, describing how cinema positions women as objects to be looked at while men do the looking. But Malèna does something crueler. It makes us complicit. We watch through Renato's adolescent desire, through the jealous wife's hatred, through the leering man's fantasies. The camera never asks what she's thinking. It doesn't care. There's a scene where Malèna simply walks to buy groceries. That's it, but the cinematography transforms her routine errand into a runway of judgment. Every head turns, every conversation stops, the women clutch their husbands tighter, the man mentally undress her, and Malèna, she's just trying to buy bread. What's devastating is how quickly beauty becomes pardon. Her husband's away at war, she is alone, and because she is stunning, the town decides she must be immoral. Projection masquerading as truth. They gossip that she is sleeping around, they price gouge her in shops, they make her unemployment and isolation feel like cosmic justice for the crime of existing in a body they simultaneously desire and despise. The film forces us to witness how objectification strips personhood away, layer by layer. Malèna stops being a widow grieving her husband. She stops being a daughter caring for her aging father. She becomes a symbol, a walking Rorschach test for everyone's sexual frustrations and moral insecurities. The townspeople don't see her. They see their own fantasies and fears wearing her face. And here's the thing that makes my stomach turn. This isn't unique to 1940s Sicily. Swap the setting, update the fashion, and you've got Instagram comment sections, Twitter threads, the way we discuss celebrities, politicians, that person at work. We're all citizens of that Sicilian town, cameras in our pockets, ready to reduce complexity to a single consumable image. When Malèna's father dies and she's left with nothing, no money, no support, no options, the film shows us the logical endpoint of collective objectification. Survival becomes degradation. She does what the town always accused her of, not because she wanted to, but because they made it her only path forward. They wrote her story before she could even write her own. There's a particular kind of violence in being seen but not known. It's death by 1,000 glances. The women of the town are especially vicious to Malèna, and that's not accident. They've internalized the male gaze so completely that they police each other, measuring their worth against an impossible standard that Malèna embodies. She's beautiful, so she must be punished. She's desired, so she must be dangerous. The patriarchy doesn't need enforcers when it can convince people to surveil themselves and each other. When the war ends and Malèna returns to town, beaten and broken, something shifts. The woman who once spat at her now cut her hair in the square. Literal physical violence as the culmination of years of visual violence. They're punishing her for making them feel inadequate, for being the screen onto which men projected their desire instead of them. But here's the paradox. They never saw her either. They saw only what she made them feel about themselves. Renato, our narrator, grows up by the film's end. He helps her, but even his love was built on years of voyeuristic fantasy. Can you truly help someone you've only ever objectified? Can redemption erase complicity? Modern life has weaponized the gaze. Every social media platform is a town square where we perform, judge, consume. We have democratized objectification. Now everyone can be both surveilled and surveiller. We scroll through strangers' faces, making split-second judgments. Attractive? Unattractive. Worthy? Unworthy. You have become merchants of visibility, trading in likes and shares, measuring human value in metrics. And the standards? Impossibly narrow. Photoshopped, filtered, we have created a world where everyone's a Malèna, walking through hostile streets, aware that thousands of eyes are performing invisible calculations about their worth based solely on surfaces. The mental health crisis among young people, especially young women, isn't coincidental. When your existence is primarily as an image to be consumed, anxiety becomes rational, body dysmorphia becomes predictable, the self fragments into the version you are and the version you are perceived to be, and the gap between them grows cavernous. But here's what Malèna whispers between its frames. We can choose differently. We can look with empathy instead of appetite. We can ask questions instead of making assumptions. We can recognize that every person we see is living a story we know nothing about, fighting battles invisible to us, hoping to be understood rather than merely seen. The philosopher Emmanuel Levinas wrote about the face of the other, the idea that truly seeing another person's face is an ethical encounter that demands responsibility. Not their body, not their image, but their face, the seat of their humanity, their vulnerability, their plea to be recognized as a subject, not an object. What if we looked at each other that way? What if every glance was an attempt to see rather than to judge, to understand rather than to consume? Malèna doesn't offer easy answers because there aren't any, but it does offer a challenge. Recognize the camera in your own hand, the gaze you carry into the world. You have the power to objectify or to humanize with every look you give. Maybe next time you catch yourself staring, consuming, judging, pause. Ask what you're not seeing. Remember that behind every image is someone trying to survive their own story, just like you. The male gaze, the objectifying gaze, isn't inevitable. It's learned, which means we can unlearn it, one conscious look at a time.